Sahana vavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram. 12th and 13th together. Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shantimapnoti naishtikim ayukta kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kuruvanna karayan. Bhagavan is elaborating the greatness of karma yoga and leading that person to appreciate what is knowledge. In the last session we had seen 3 things that we have to deal with in life. One is called as Vyakti, second is Vastu, third is Paristhiti. Vyakti means person, Vastu means object, Paristhiti means situation. Sadhaka is the one who can remain equanimous in all these 3 things. How to remain equanimous? That is a part of sadhana, that is a part of devotion. The key word in all this discussion was Swikruti Samarthya, the ability to accept, or ability itself, or acceptance itself brings ability to respond and not to react. Such a person, when he does Shravanam, gains knowledge, how does he spend his time in this world? Whatever prarabdha is remaining, how does he spend? Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi. Through his knowledge, having given up doership, having negated experiencerhood, he lives in this world as a mere observer. Manasa sanyasya sukham aste, happily lives in this world. Just like we live in a home, he thinks I am living in this body. This body which is like a city of 9 gates. Navadvare pure dehi. In that body, he understands very clearly, I am not the body, but I am expressing through the body. I am expressing not only through one sharira, but I am expressing through all sharira. Whenever we want to understand any subtle concept of Vedanta, hold on to an example. That example will open up all the knots as far as technicalities are concerned. How does the waker look at different bodies appearing in dream? Does he think I am appearing through only the dreamer? Or I alone appeared as all the people I saw in dream? On waking up, his understanding is the waker alone appeared as dreamer. Waker alone appeared as different people in dream. Like that, Jnani understands, I alone am expressing through all shariras, not only this sharira. Navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvan nakarayan. Now, there is a connection which Bhagwan Shankaracharya writes to the next verse. Somebody is raising an objection. Just now you said, Sarva Karmani Manasa Sanyasya. And this person has renounced doership, and now he is abiding in that blissful self, devoid of doership. Right? That is what was said in the previous verse. Now the question is this doership inherent nature of Atma, or was it not part of Atma to begin with? Means, was this doership there in Atma, then through something he has plucked it out, removed that doership, done sannyasa of that, and now he is abiding in pure consciousness? Or there was no doership to begin with, it was only superimposed. Again, these concepts, when you get, hold on to classical Vedanta examples. Crystal and red cloth. You have a clean crystal kept on a red cloth. The clean, colorless crystal appears to be red. Now the question is, you are saying that there is a person who is abiding in colorless crystal. Did he remove that color, red color, and then he is abiding in that colorless crystal? Or was that color not part of that crystal to begin with? Color had nothing to do with the crystal. Rather, the crystal had nothing to do with the color. Because it was in the proximity of that cloth, the color of that cloth got superimposed on that crystal. If at all he needs to get the crystal back, what he needs is only knowledge. Like that, Bhagwan is connecting this verse now. Bhagwan Krishna. Next two verses which are coming, they are to indicate in Atma, in Sakshi, there was no doership to begin with. That Sakshi is actionless. Sakshi is devoid of any kind of doership. So sannyasa, true meaning will happen only in Atma. True meaning of sannyasa will fit only in Atma. But that sannyasa is not giving up anything different. That sannyasa is to know that nothing affected me to begin with. That sannyasa is in knowing there was nothing. Okay, whenever you use these terms, nothing and all, you feel like, okay, something we are talking about. What is affecting me? Different thoughts are coming, thoughts are going. What is our understanding? Those thoughts affect me. Different experiences are coming, experiences are going. The feeling of the sadhaka is, those experiences are affecting me. But here Bhagwan wants to say that Chaitanya Swarupa is unaffected by any of these modifications. Now, whenever we discuss Vedanta, the prerequisite there is, we don't look at it from the lens of Vyavahara. Vyavahara means transactions. This point we had seen in Saddarshanam also. Whenever Ramar Maharishi talks about the absolute truth, he expects that we keep transaction separate and we keep absolute truth separate. Means it is to say, let us say you are walking and somebody, okay, let me give a very simple example. Let us say somebody's car tire has gotten stuck somewhere. It's trying to push, not coming out. Now what will be your natural feeling? We'll at least ask, do you need a hand? Now if you literally apply Vedanta, what will it be? None of the experiences in the world affect me. Vedanta assumes we don't have such kind of questions. At the level of transaction, dharma is the thing which will rule. In fact, transaction can never be done with tattva. Meaning, even if you know necklace is also gold, ring is also gold, bracelet is also gold, you will still put it where it has to be put. Right? We won't put a ring in our ear, necklace as a bracelet. Why? Anyway, it is gold. What does it show? In spite of knowing tattva, in spite of knowing paramartha, transactions will happen according to dharma. Okay? So that part we should keep in mind whenever we study these verses. If that question comes, this is how we have to resolve it. Now, Bhagwan plays a master stroke here. Bhagwan Krishna. To say Sakshi is actionless, it is easy. Because we have heard in Vedanta, we have heard Drigdrishya Viveka. There is seer and there is a seen. I am the seer, different from the seen, and that seer is actionless. Instead of saying Atma is actionless, Sakshi is actionless, Bhagwan Krishna says, Bhagwan is actionless. And he says, see if you can understand these verses. Let us just read the verse, then I'll introduce something, then we will again see the verses. 14th and 15th together. Na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srujati prabhu na karma phala sanyogam svabhavastu pravartate na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srujati prabhu na karma phala sanyogam svabhavastu pravartate nadatte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukrutam vibhuh ajnanena vrutam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavah nadatte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukrutam vibhuh ajnanena vrutam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavah. Prabhu. Prabhu word goes with Bhagavan. General meaning of Prabhu. What is the nature of Prabhu? Na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srujati. Bhagavan does not create doership in a jiva. Na kartrutvam prabhu srujati. Lokasya karmani api na srujati. Karmani here means objects. Karmani doesn't mean here karmas. There is prathama vibhakti, there is dvitiya vibhakti, tritiya vibhakti. What is dvitiya vibhakti referring to? Karma. Karma vibhakti. Panini Maharshi says, karma vibhakti is kartuhu ipsitatamam karma. That which is desired by the karta, that thing is called as karma. For example, Ramaha gruham gacchati. Rama goes to home. What is the action over here? Going. Now what is desired through that action? Where does he want to go? Home. So gruham is in dvitiya vibhakti. That is why it is called as karma. Whatever is desired by the doer, that object is called as karma. Anyway, don't worry about it. Literal meaning is of karma is not action. Meaning of karma is objects. Bhagwan doesn't create doership. Don't blame him for kartrutva. Doesn't create objects. Look at the third one. Na karma phala sanyogam. Bhagwan doesn't connect karta with karma phala. I studied Upadesha Sara. Karturajnaya prapyate phalam. And what is said here? Na karma phala sanyogam. What brings all these things together then? Where does kartutva come from? Where do objects come from? How does karta and karma phala come together? We say by the law of karma, whoever has done an action, same person will become experiencer of the result. And there has to be a sentient entity which is bringing both of them together. Kenopanishad, we saw this elaborately. Ishwara Siddhi Prakaranam. See, that is one challenge, for explaining one idea, you need 5 different ideas. But whatever is needed, little bit we'll touch upon. So, karma phala sanyoga is done by Bhagavan, that is what is said there. And here, Bhagavan Krishna is saying, karma phala sanyoga is not by Bhagavan. Swabhavastu pravartate. What brings about all these things? He says swabhava. Swabhava here means maya. Primordial ignorance or avidya. That is the blueprint for all these things to function. He says maya is having the DNA of creation inherent in it. How it has to unfold, what it has to do, all of that is carried forward by Maya. Now look at the second verse. Na adatte kasyachit papam. Who doesn't accept? Vibhuhu. Bhagwan doesn't accept anybody's papa. Nachaiva sukrutam. Doesn't accept anybody's punya also. Ajnanena avrutam jnanam. By ignorance, Atma is covered. Or knowledge of Atma is covered. Ajnanena avrutam jnanam. Tena muhyanti jantavaha. Because of this, all living beings, jantava means whoever is born. All living beings, all pranis, they are deluded. Deluded in what way? Either they think of themselves as karta bhokta, doer and enjoyer. They think of this world as real and think there is some other entity different from oneself called as Ishwara. Did you understand both these verses? Okay, now leave these 2 verses aside. Let us do some background. Okay, foundation work. This thought process came to mind when one Balvihar child asked me, we celebrate Ramanomi. We celebrate Janmashtami. We celebrate Hanuman Jayanti, means birthday of Rama, Bhagwan, birthday of Bhagwan Krishna, birthday of Hanumanji. Why don't we celebrate birthday of Lord Shiva? Shivratri is not his birthday, huh? It's a remembrance of Lord Shiva. There is a Vedanta Siddhanta here. If we understand it, nature of God, we will never be confused about. Vedanta says there is only one non-dual truth. Call it Brahman, call it Atma, call it Chaitanya, Sat-Chit-Ananda. There is only one non-dual truth. There is nothing other than it which is existing. This point should be very firm as far as our conviction is concerned. When we say Advaita Vedanta, where it wants to take us is to that non-dual truth which alone is. That non-dual truth along with the conditioning of Maya, along with the conditioning of avidya, that same non-dual truth gets the title of Ishwara. Maya has three gunas, and it is the creative power of the Lord. Okay, non-dual truth. Let us call it Brahma. See, name doesn't matter. Huh? If you change the name, object doesn't change. Vishnu Sahasranama, 1,000 names are there. It is not 1,000 different things that it is referring to. Same non-dual truth that is being referred by different names. Brahma, along with Maya conditioning, gets the name Ishwara. Now, with Maya conditioning, Maya has creative power. There are three different roles that this conditioned consciousness does. First role is of creation. First role is of creation. Second role is of sustenance of creation. Third role is of creative destruction of creation. Brahman is eternal. That same Brahman conditioned by Maya will also be eternal. Brahman is eternal. Same Brahman conditioned by Maya is also eternal. That is why we say Bhagwan is eternal. Because Bhagwan is nothing but Brahman alone. So from the standpoint of creation, same Ishwara gets the name Brahmaji. From the standpoint of sustenance, Ishwara gets the name Bhagwan Vishnu. From the standpoint of creative destruction, Ishwara gets the name Bhagwan Shiva. Now tell me, are they three different people, or is it one appearing as three? One appearing as three. Gurudev would give an example. He would say there is a sculptor making a statue. One person comes and says, this sculptor is creating a statue. From that rock, he is creating a statue. Second person comes and says, from that rock, he is preserving that part which needs to be kept. As he's chipping away things, the way he is looking at it is, this sculptor is sustaining that thing which needs to be sustained. Third person comes and says, this sculptor is chipping away those things which do not belong to that statue. He says, how many people are there? There is only one sculptor looking at him from three different roles. They get three different names. The first entity, pure consciousness, Brahma, doesn't have any attributes. Doesn't have any attributes. That is why it is called as Nirguna. Guna means attribute. Nirguna means without any attributes. Second one is having the attributes of Maya. So if without attribute was called as Nirguna, with attribute will be called as Saguna. Saguna Brahma is also Nitya, is also eternal, because its essential nature is Brahman alone. And that same Brahman, through three different actions, appears as Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. That is why they don't have birthdays. Something which is eternal, you cannot say is born. Now that same entity can choose to appear in a particular form. Brahmaji takes avatara as Jambavanji. Jambuvanji's avatar of Brahmaji. Bhagwan Vishnu chooses to take avatar as Bhagwan Rama, Bhagwan Krishna. Bhagwan Shiva took avatar as Hanumanji. There are several avatars, one of that is Hanumanji. So when avatar happens in a particular form, so there you have Jayanti. There you have Jayanti. Because form has come right now. Form has come right now. That is called as saguna, sakara. Akara means form. Guna means attributes. Means with attributes, with forms. The first one was called as nirguna, nirakara. No form. In between one, Ishwara is called as saguna nirakara. Saguna nirakara. Bhagwan as Ishwara is formless. But he has guna. He has guna of karma phaladata, being the origin of creation, sustaining this creation, destroying this creation. All those gunas are there. But no form. When avatara happens, that time it is saguna and sakara. Now whenever we read verses like these, 14th and 15th, what form of Lord is it referring to? Is it referring to saguna sakara? Or is it referring to saguna nirakara? Or is it referring to nirguna nirakara? This is referring to nirguna nirakara. That consciousness which is devoid of all attributes, devoid of doership, that consciousness doesn't create anything, that doesn't accept anything. With that consciousness as a substratum, everything happens. Okay, now some examples for this point. Sunrise and sunset. What will you say? Does sunrise happen? Or is it just a perception? So it depends on the standpoint. From the standpoint of sun, there is no sunrise, there is no sunset. But from the standpoint of Prithvivasi, people on this earth, you say lotuses blossom because of sunrise. You say if it did not happen, how come you are seeing the results over here? So from the standpoint of conditioning, same thing can appear different. So from the standpoint of pure consciousness, there is no karma phala, there is no jagat, there is no doer. 14th verse you see again, na kartutvam, there is no doership. Na karmani, mean there is no object, there is no jagat. Na karma phala sanyogam. Karma phala sanyogam means experiencer. Only when there is experiencer, there will be sanyoga of karma phala with that experiencer. He said there is no experiencer, there is no doer, there is no world. And Bhagwan as Nirguna Brahma doesn't do any of these things. What about accepting punya papa? That pure consciousness is beyond punya, it is beyond papa also. That is why it doesn't accept papa karma, doesn't accept punya also. Thinking that consciousness to be affected by these things, that itself is ajnanam. Ajnanena avrutam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. That itself will make us go through all this samsara. Another example for this is, Gurudev gives this in his commentary, If you are seeing your reflection in water, can you say you created your reflection in water? He says, no, you are just there. Because the medium is reflecting, reflection is seen there. In the same way, consciousness is just there. Because the reflecting medium of Ahankara, of Antakarana is there, that reflection is seen in that Antakarana. So Ahankara emerges, Jagat emerges, experiencerhood emerges. All of that is because of that. But I hope this point, we have seen it before also, but you have to reflect on our own nature of Bhagavan from all three standpoints. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we chant one shloka. All of you know it. If I start, you will complete it. Sachidananda Rupaya Vishwotpatyadi Hetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. Not Namaha, Numaha. In this shloka, all three facets of the Lord are indicated. What is Bhagavan's essential nature? Sachidananda Rupaya. Essential nature of Bhagavan is Nirguna Nirakara. Sat, Chit, Ananda Swarupa. Vishwotpatyadi Hetave. The one who is the cause of this whole creation. One who is the origin of creation. One who brings about, manifests this creation. That will be which category? Saguna, then which akara? Nirakara. Saguna Nirakara. Without any form, he is able to run this whole creation. There you put all adjectives. Karma Phala Data, Antaryami. What is the form of Antaryami? There is no form, but guna is there. There is love, there is guidance. Conscience, what we say, has guna, attributes, but no form. That is Vishwotpatyadi Hetave. Then, Tapatraya Vinashaya, the one who destroys all tapas. How does he destroy? By giving Upadesha as Bhagavad Geeta. So for giving this teaching, how can he give? Nirguna Nirakara, Saguna Nirakara or Saguna Sakara? Saguna Sakara. Very good. I'm so happy. And you will appreciate, unless you use his technical words, the concepts don't open up. Hold on to the technical words. Lot of these concepts will become very, very clear. Saguna Sakara means only when Bhagavan takes avatara. That is when he can teach Bhagavad Gita. That is when he can teach Uddhav Gita. And remove the tapatraya. All the afflictions rising out of delusion. I am this finite being. I am seeking happiness in the world outside. Means I am incomplete right now. Something else will make me complete. He says that itself is sufficient to keep us running all over the place. That Bhagavan Shri Krishna we worship. What happens is, if we hold only to one form, sometimes we ourselves don't know the depth of our rishis. The depth of the thought which has gone behind nature of Bhagavan. And if somebody asks us also, what is your understanding of God? Many times we ourselves will not have clarity. What is God according to Sanatan Dharma? And we should be comfortable with all the three levels. Saguna Sakara, Saguna Nirakara, and Nirguna Nirakara. All three levels, we should be comfortable. Another extreme sometimes we go to is, hold on to only Nirguna Nirakara. Say, God, I don't connect with. What do you connect with? Consciousness. Just be. That is another extreme that is also not complete view of Sanatan Dharma. If you read Upanishads, 80% Upanishad talks about saguna. Why 80? I would say 95% talks about saguna. Upanishad or Vedas in particular, Upanishads form a very small portion of entire Vedas as far as mantras are concerned, percentage wise. So how can we ignore 95% of mantras which are talking about saguna? That is the beauty of this. Once we understand nature of Bhagwan as Nirguna Nirakara, then these two verses will open up. Goswamiji in Shiva Gita, he gives an example. He says, if your question is, Jo nirguna soi, Jo nirguna, vah saguna soi kaise? Jala hima upala bilaga nahi jaise. He says, if you are having this question, how did that nirguna appear as saguna? How did that formless become with form? He says, it is just like water. Based on temperature can become ice. Based on temperature can become vapor. So ice form is saguna sakara. You change the temperature, becomes water, that is saguna nirakara. Melt it or heat it up more, becomes vapor, that is nirguna nirakara. There is no difference in tattva. That is why we can take a vigraha of the Lord and meditate upon Bhagwan in a much deeper way. Through our physical eyes, we are seeing saguna sakara. Which avatar is it? If you see a vigraha of Bhagwan where prana pratishtha is done. No, which avatar? Fourth chapter we had seen different avatars, right? Archavatara. Archavatara. It says through eyes we are seeing Archavatara of the Lord. But our understanding is same Bhagwan is Sarva Shaktiman, all powerful. Whatever we need in life, he will bless. Suhrud, he is my friend. And at the same time, in his essential nature, he is Nirguna Nirakara. He is the illuminator of thoughts. Sakshi is Bhagavan. Nirguna Nirakara, can Nirguna Nirakara Sachidananda Brahma be different from me? Just now in that verse we saw it. Sachidananda Rupaya. That was Nirguna Nirakara. Can Sat-Chit-Ananda be different from Jiva? Okay, what is Sat? Existence. What is Chit? Consciousness. If Jiva is different from existence, what will Jiva become? Non-existence. Opposite of existence is non-existence. If we say Bhagwan who is Sachidananda is different from me, that means Jiva will become non-existent. Chit is consciousness. If you say consciousness is different from me, what will Jiva become? Jada. And what is our feeling of ourselves? Do we think we are inert thing like a harmonium? Or we are sentient beings? Sentient beings, all our rishis say, inquire into where that sentiency is coming from. How do we feel about ourselves? Existent or non-existent? Existent. Where is that existence coming from? That source of existence is Bhagwan. And that nature of Bhagwan is of this nature, 14 and 15. Na kartrutvam, na karmani, lokasya sujati prabhu. Na karma phala sanyogam, swabhavastu pravartate. So swabhava word there meant avidya. That which is natural. We don't have to put forth effort to think that I am a doer. We don't have to put forth effort to say world is there. That is swabhavika. It is because of primordial ignorance. This is how we have been thinking. Na adatte kasachit papam. Doesn't accept anybody's papa. Nachaiva sukrutam vibhuhu. Does not accept anybody's punya. Vibhuhu word is given to show that he is Purna. That Atma Chaitanya is complete by itself. It doesn't need anybody's papa or punya to be content. Ajnanena, by this ignorance, jnanam avrutam. The knowledge of the self is covered. And because of that, all jivas are going around in this samsara. Tena muhyanti jantavaha. As far as Vedantic journey is concerned, Vedanta doesn't believe too much in resolving samsara. See, all of us start our journey in Vedanta for only one purpose. Dukkha nivrutti. Other side of that is Ananda prapti. We never started studying Shastra because I want to learn about consciousness. Some might have, I don't know. But in general, whenever we do satsang, we get to know of an alternative way of looking at life. That is what draws us. So here it is said, resolving samsara is never going to give permanent solution. Permanent solution according to Vedanta is dissolving samsara. Dissolving samsara not outside. Dissolving samsara is dissolving Ahankara. The one who thinks is going through samsara, question the validity of that entity. Ahankara, how will you identify in a very practical terms? We have to make a list of our identities. What all things I think I am. Starting from I am a human being, I am a man, I am a father, mother, whatever those identities are, employee, employer, make all of it. And on top you label it nature of Ahankara. See, Ahankara is not a technical term, that we have to make it something mystic. Whatever identities we think from the standpoint of conditioning, that itself is called as Ahankara. And Vedanta is telling us, question whether that is our essential identity or not. If it was, then you can never drop it. Essential identity means that which you can never drop, that is our essential nature. Now, do we drop these identities or do we carry it all the time? You say in dream, none of those identities remain. In deep sleep, they are completely wiped off. So something which changes cannot be our essential nature. In that way, the sadhaka is thinking more and more. Okay, little bit practical thing now, okay, if it is too heavy. Somebody might ask, we praise Saguna Bhakti so much. How does Saguna Bhakti express in a jnani? One who has understood Bhagwan's nature to be Nirguna Nirakara, how does he look at Saguna Sakara and Saguna Nirakara? Saguna Bhakti, how does it express in a jnani? Most jnanis, they comfortably replaced the word Atma with Bhagavan. They said there is no point in convincing people about the nature of Bhagwan to be this way, that way. You understand Bhagwan's nature and live your life keeping your mind in the nature of the Lord that you have understood. So if you read all their compositions, you will notice this point. If you have studied Vedanta, that they are just switching Nirguna Nirakara Brahma with the name Rama, Krishna, Bhagwan Shiva. Vishwacha Vishramare, Swami Mahaja Ramare. There he says, Mithyate Anekare, Satya Rama Ekare. There is everything which is Mithya. What is Satya is only Rama. What did Vedanta say? Jagat is Mithya, Brahma is Satyam. And in all their compositions, the word Brahma is replaced by Bhagavan. Kabir Dasji, Rama Niranjana Nyarare, Anjana Sakala Pasarare. This whole world is a spread of Maya. Anjana means Maya. Who is beyond Maya, untouched by Maya? He says Rama Niranjana. Rama is untouched by Maya. Everything else is seen through the lens of Maya alone. Means that non-dual truth alone is anything you talk about other than that non-duality. Somewhere Maya has entered, through the lens of Maya only, we are discussing other things. Kabir Das also says, इक दुई हुई तो उन्हें समझाऊं, सब जगह अंधा, मैं के ही समझाऊं. If there are one or two people, I could go and convince them. But he says everybody is thinking in that way, that Jagat is real, I am Karta, I am Bhokta. He says, how will I go and convince everybody? He says, the best thing is you understand, put your mind in the truth in that way. Somebody asked Raman Maharshi ji, will my realization of the truth benefit others? If I realize the truth, will it benefit others? Bhagavan said, in a way, yes. In a way, if you realize the truth, it will benefit others. But he said, when you realize the truth, there will be no others. Means the waker is saying, I have woken up from my dream. Will my waking up help the other people in the dream to wake up? Either you have woken up for real or you are still asleep. That is this verse, Tena Muhyanti Jantavaha. It's a call to wake up. What makes these verses authentic is their Bhagwan Krishna's words. And whatever I shared is based on 3 commentaries. One is our Shankar Bhashya, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji. Second is Madhusudana Saraswati ji, Godartha Deepika. Third is Sridhar Swami ji. One was written commentary on entire Srimad Bhagavatam. How they have explained the verses, that is our way to understand the words. Okay? Now the question becomes, if everybody is deluded, what is the way out? Tena muhyanti jantavaha, right? Ajnanena avrutam jnanam tena muhyanti jantava. Everybody is deluded by this Maya. They think there is duality here. Is there some way out? Or is that the thing that everybody has to get stuck with? He says, no. Some people are there who can come out. Who are they? 16th verse. Jnanena tu tadajnanam. Jnanena tu tadajnanam. Yesham nashitam atmanah. Tesham adityavajnanam. Prakashayati tatparam. Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitamatmanah jnanam prakashayati tatparam. Jnanena tu. Don't think that everybody is deluded and they will remain deluded. There are few people whose ignorance has been destroyed through knowledge. Jnanena ajnanam atmanah nashitam. Atmanah here means in one's own self. The ignorance about that Atma. Nashitam atmanah, you can add a word there. Atmanah ajnanam nashitam. Ignorance about the nature of self that has been destroyed. By whom has it been destroyed? Which is in Karana Vibhakti here? Jnanena. Jnanena. Tritiya. Jnanena ajnanam nashitam. That ignorance is destroyed by knowledge. Now knowledge means you have to understand the whole process. The student is there who got desire for knowledge. Done karma yoga. This chapter is that, by the way. Jnana karma sannyasa yoga. He started by doing karma yoga. Then got desire to study systematically. Went to a teacher, did shravanam, did mananam, did nididhyasanam. That brahmakara vritti that took place in his intellect, that destroyed ignorance. How did it destroy ignorance? Just like the sun destroys darkness. Tesham adityavad jnanam. Adityavat means just like sun destroys ignorance, sun destroys darkness, knowledge destroys ignorance. Prakashayati tatparam. That self is self-shining. Once ignorance is removed, you don't have to do anything else to know the self. That is why the word here is prakashayati. Means remove this ignorance of doership, ignorance that I am this mind, I am this body. Whatever remains, that is this self-shining, blissful self. Prakashayati tatparam. Now this example of sun is very interesting. Why Bhagavan has given the example of sun to show that metaphor of how knowledge destroys ignorance. If there is darkness in a room, bringing light is the only way to remove darkness. Gurudev writes in one place, you cannot bring a shovel and say, whole night I am going to throw this darkness out. Like that, if there is ignorance about our own true nature, the only way to remove that ignorance is knowledge. That is the first analogy, why sun example is given. Second analogy is, let us say there is a cave. Hundreds of thousands of years it has been dark. How much time does it take for light to remove that 100,000 years worth of darkness? Don't say another 100,000 years. It's at least 50,000, if not 100,000. So, light will remove it in an instant. In the same way, since how long are we ignorant? Since how many janmas are we thinking ourselves to be karta and bhokta? It's a time immemorial. The very fact that you have gotten this human body means in past birth, ajnanam was not removed. That is how transmigration continues. Next verse is going to tell us, if knowledge takes place clearly, that person is not reborn. Now to appreciate this promise of Vedanta also, we need to think. Because majority people feel, what is wrong in rebirth? I don't get this Vedantins. Time and again they say, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. It is so, Iha Samsare, Bahu Dustare. I don't understand what is the problem in rebirth. Anyway, that thinking we'll do separately. You can also do on your own. All of you have heard sufficient Vedanta. Maybe I'll ask you next session. Randomly, okay? Punarjanma, why should a Vedanta sadhaka see limitations? So the thing here is, just like light removes darkness in an instant, knowledge removes ignorance in an instant. That is the second one. Last one is, see, when sun is covered by clouds, what do we say? Sun is not there. But once the clouds are removed, you don't have to bring another light to see the sun. Sun is of the nature of light, so no other light is needed to know the sun. In the same way, ignorance, which is represented by the clouds, that is removed. Self-shining Atma reveals itself. Aham aham taya spurati hrit swayam. Self-shining Atma reveals itself. You don't need any other thing, no other instrument to know Atma. We don't need body, we don't need mind, we don't need Ahankara. To know this mic, how many things do I need? First, I need light. I need eyes. I need thought. Then I need consciousness also. When all these things come together, then knowledge of mic takes place. Any object for that matter. Huh? What do I need to know Atma? Do I need light? Kim jyotistava bhanuman ahanime ratrau pradipadikam. Ekashloki. He says, who is the one who illumines? In what light do you see? That is what Bhagavan Shankaracharya asks. He says, I see in sunlight. Okay, if that sunlight is not there at night, what do you see? He says, tube light. Other light I see. Say, okay, if you close your eyes, do you see your thoughts or not? Say, yes, I see my thoughts. In what light do you see those thoughts? Jyotis tadasmi prabho. That Jyoti which illumines everything else, that is this consciousness. That light I am, that is the main teaching. Okay, on a humorous note, when Guruji was explaining this verse, he said, same thing, don't mix Paramartha with Vyavahara. He said, even if my name is Tejomaya, if there is a dark room, you still need another light. Your name might be Prakasha or Jyoti. At the level of Vyavahara, Vyavaharik light is needed. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om